101.5 FM.
Welcome back to Hunter's Field, built by Dream Fighters Homes. Donna Murphy, Blythe, Brumleve, Lauren Rue, alongside me, Lauren Brooks, as we welcome in Ashlyn Sullivan, digital reporter for Jaguars.com. Hello, Ashlyn. How are you?
Hello?
Ashlyn.
Hi, can you hear me?
All right, now we can.
Yeah.
How are you tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
We are fantastic, thanks. We are certainly doing as much as we possibly can to raise money today for the Tom Coughlin J Fund. And if people would like to give a donation, it's 207-7070 or text TEAM to 52182. And Ashlyn, feel free to give them a call as soon as you hang up with us.
I will, absolutely. That's an awesome cause. Always something that I've loved hearing about and doing stories on. It's pretty cool to see a softer side of Tom Coughlin whenever he's involved with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And certainly the money always goes to local families battling childhood cancer. All right, Ashlyn, we don't have much to talk to you about on the Jaguars front. Offensive coordinator Nathaniel Hackett was fired. Blake Bortles was benched. Leonard Fournette was suspended. Am I missing anything else?
Another injury to the offensive line.
Andrew Norwell was placed on IR.
Just a light week, that's all.
What else is going on?
Yeah, a pretty boring week, to say the least. It's only Tuesday.
Ashlyn, what did you think when, okay, let me see if I can put this in the correct chronological order. Nathaniel Hackett gets fired and then Blake Bortles gets benched. Did you expect one to happen before the other, or did you thought it would happen in this order?
I thought it would happen at the same time, then it was reassured when Doug Rose spoke on Monday and said that this is something he's been thinking about for a while, and it was a package deal. I mean, at times you have to look at both Nathaniel Hackett and Blake Bortles for the insufficient offense. I mean, there's been times when Nathaniel Hackett hasn't called a great game, but there's also been times when Nathaniel Hackett has called the plays and Blake Bortles hasn't executed them. So I think you have to look at both sides of the party there, and it only makes sense to move on from both of them if it's not working.
On the other side of the ball, there have been hardly any injuries on the defensive side. Why do you think that Nate Hackett was the first to go instead of someone like Todd Walsh?
I think it's just because this offense has been so inefficient at times, and we know that the defense has had its ups and downs. It's such a talented group, and there's promise with that group. We saw them be so successful in 2017, and they battled back the past few weeks. Yes, there's been some coverage issues, but it hasn't been to the point where this has been an unsuccessful season for the defense as a whole. But if you were to ask anyone and to sum up the offense in 2018 for the Jaguars, it wouldn't be pretty. So as much as there's been blown coverages, communication on defense, the insufficiency on offense is the biggest thing for 2018, and that's why I think Nathaniel Hackett was the first to be looked at.
Do you agree that that is the first move that should have been made?
I do. I think a lot of moves will be coming. I think a lot of changes coming. We've seen so much change just in the season and the NFL as a whole. It's been a totally different offense that fans have wanted to watch. Fans want high-scoring, high-powered, exciting offense, and that's not what the Jaguars have right now. I think injuries are a huge, huge part of that, and it's disappointing and it's upsetting because Nathaniel Hackett, I think, is a great coach. I don't think it's all on him. A lot has to do with injuries. You don't want to use the injury excuse, but my gosh, there have been so many injuries, especially on the offensive side of the ball and especially the offensive line. And then there's been times when Blake Bortles hasn't been doing the play calling that he's supposed to, and then you have receivers and tight ends and running backs also not going up to the par that they have set for themselves. So, but you're the coach, and that's what it all comes down to. Someone has to go down when it's not working, and unfortunately, it was Nathaniel Hackett.
Ashlyn, wide receiver DJ Tark missed the game thanks to that quadricep injury. How much did the team miss him, both not just as a receiver, but also on the special teams unit?
I think especially on special teams, they missed DJ Chark. He has had such a stellar season. I remember us watching him in training camp all the way back in August. We were saying this kid is going to be a star, and he has. I think he's really made an impact, especially on special teams. But as a receiver as a whole, I've been really impressed with him, almost more so in the locker room off the field. We were talking to him about Nathaniel Hackett being let go, and we were talking to him just all throughout the season about the troubles. And he's, stood up and spoken in front of everyone. And at times I forget that he's a rookie because he holds himself to a really high standard. I think in the next few seasons, we're going to see him grow more and more as a leader in that wide receiver room.
Ashlyn, Leonard Fournette essentially and took responsibility for losing that game for the Jaguars on Sunday. If he doesn't run across the field with his helmet on and start a fight and get ejected from the game, and essentially continues to do what he had done, and that was run the football and lead this team to a victory, does Nathaniel Hackett get fired?
a great question. I think he does eventually get fired. Maybe it's not this week. If you win the game, it's pretty hard to do a firing right after a win. But I know the direction that this offense wants to go. And it's not with Blake Bortles. It might not be with Nathaniel Hackett. So I don't think he would have gotten fired this week. But I think Doug Marrone knew the changes he wanted to make, whether it was now or whether it was in the offseason. I think the change still would have been made.
Ashlyn, is Blake Bortles on this roster at the start of the 2019 training camp?
I think he'll still be on the roster, especially for financial reasons. Can I promise that he'll be the starter? I don't know. We were talking about this morning. I don't know if you'll ever see Blake Bortles snap a football again in Jacksonville. I mean, there's a lot of financial implications with him. I think you're going to see Cody Kessler, and I think Cody Kessler has an unreal chance to make something out of his career the next 5 weeks. I think it'll be interesting. We made the scenario this morning. If Cody Kessler comes out the next 5 weeks and completely balls out and surprises all of us and has an unreal 5 weeks, and then they go draft a quarterback in the draft, what happens in 2019? It could get really interesting. And it's all on Cody Kessler's shoulders at this point.
Ashlyn, when it comes to Daly's Place, you've got some big stuff going on. Kenny Chesney coming to the actual amphitheater, but also the Rolling Stones are coming to TIAA Bank Field in April of next year. What can you tell us about ticket sales?
Yes, 2 huge concerts coming to Jacksonville. So Rolling Stones tickets are going on sale this Friday, November 30th, and that's going to be at 10 o'clock a.m. And then last week, we weren't exactly sure of the date of the Kenny Chesney tickets. That was announced today that those will go on sale Friday, December 7th at 10 a.m. So write those both down, especially for Kenny Chesney, because I know he'll be selling out rather quickly.
Absolutely. Those are really fantastic shows. We were talking about Garth Brooks a little bit earlier, coming to the Swamp, I know a place that you love as well. But honestly, when you're talking about a tour that may never ever tour again in a band like the Rolling Stones, and then Kenny Chesney playing in such a small, intimate space, I mean, those are 2 really good gets for this city.
Oh, yeah, it's awesome for Jacksonville, especially Rolling Stones appeals to so many ages. I know my mom was fired up. She wants tickets on Friday. It's something that I would love to see, and I'm only 23, and I would still definitely go see them. All my friends are excited about it. It's going to appeal to so many ages. I think it'll appeal to the whole city. It'll be great to get the entire city in that stadium for that show.
Absolutely. All right, Ashlyn, can the Jaguars beat the Colts on Sunday?
I'm really interested to see. I think they have the firepower to do it. The Colts are on a roll, though. They've looked really, really good. We saw how good the offensive line was for the Colts. You don't have Leonard Fournette, which concerns me, but Carlos Hyde I thought was promising at times against the Bills. This all, for me, this all looks at Cody Kessler. Can he go and perform, make plays? I'm really interested to see how he performs with a full week of practice, knowing he's going to be the starting quarterback.
All right, well, we will certainly find out, and then we will talk to you next week. Thanks so much for joining us tonight, Ashlyn.
Thanks, guys. See you soon.
Absolutely. That is Ashlyn Sullivan, Jaguars.com digital reporter and host. The top 4 is being released right now in the college football playoff. Alabama 1, surprise, surprise. Clemson 2, Notre Dame 3. We are awaiting the 4th team at the moment. And of course, they're probably going to go to commercial because this is kind of the most interesting one, but it is Georgia. Well, I guess it's not that interesting now. They're going to play each other on Saturday, Alabama and Georgia. But 5 and 6 should be interesting because you've got a toss-up between Oklahoma and Ohio State. Wow. Oklahoma does come in at number 5. That means Ohio State will be the 6th team. And that is, again, interesting because if potentially Georgia loses to Alabama and Georgia gets knocked out of the playoff, then the committee has to decide between Oklahoma and Ohio State, assuming both win their conference championships on Saturday. And as of right now, Oklahoma is ahead of Ohio State. So that is going to make a lot of people.
And there's a sad Kirk Herbstreit
happy.
sitting there with his scarlet and red, or wait, scarlet and gray on, going, "Oh, my team should have been higher."
Well, the committee, though, in the past
right,
has had
JJ,
teams
come on, JJ, laugh into the microphone.
He sounds just like that.
Thank
listed like this, and then they changed it at the end. So we shall find out. All right, JJ, take it away so someone can win tonight's Peterbrook Chocolate Heel.
Brings me back.
So doesn't it? Great song choice. If you know the name of that song or the name of the band, text into the 1010XL text line driven by Duval Ford 641-1010. Y'all have been giving all day. It's now our turn to give you something. You can win tonight's Peterbrook Chocolate Heel. Excellent song choice, JJ. All right, Lauren, what's the latest when it comes to injuries?
The personal injury attorneys of Farah and Farah present this injury update.
Farrah and Farrah, protecting you and your family since 1979.
Well, on Sunday against the Buffalo Bills, we knew that DJ Chark would be out. We know Josh Walker is out. We know Quentin Meeks is out. Lorente McCray was also out. And you can now add Andrew Norwell to that list as well. He actually goes on the injured reserve, so he is done for the rest of the season. Look, that's what's been ailing this team, part of what people call excuses or reasons for. I think there's a little bit to say about what they have dealt with and what they didn't have to deal with last year. But everybody goes through injuries, and there are certain teams who are able to bounce back from it better than others, but this is the reality of it. They've been beat up on the offensive line and also in that tight end position. And if you had said to me before the season started that your starting center would be out and your left tackle would be out and your right guard and oh, by the way, Cody Kessler would be starting. I mean, think about this, not just from an injury perspective, but from a captain perspective. You have Leonard Fournette, who took himself out because he acted like an idiot.
Ridiculous.
We can just be honest here with ourselves. You have Blake Bortles, who's now benched for Cody Kessler, and Linder, who's out because of injury. None of your captains starting going into week 13.
Hypothetical, how do you think the local fan base and media would have reacted if Jalen Ramsey did what Leonard Fournette did?
I think they'd reacted exactly the same.
Exactly the same?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I
They
think Jalen would have been roasted.
Yeah.
Oh, I think Fournette was roasted. I mean, I know on our show in the morning, he was called an idiot, and that was the dumbest thing people have ever seen. And so I don't think any criticism was held back, especially when you're talking about the 4th overall pick who's now missed 10 games out of 28 games, 2 of which are because of suspension. One of those was, remember, an internal suspension that Doug Brown handed down last season, and now this. So I don't think anybody was anything other than extraordinarily critical. You've got a guy who it was rumored that he wasn't going to his treatments, and so that's one of the reasons that maybe why he wasn't coming back.
Why was he named the captain?
So the team votes the captaincy, so that's where it comes from, the team. But I don't think any punches were pulled. In other words, pun intended, for that scenario.
I think Jalen would have gotten it 10 times worse if he did what Leonard Fournette did.
Yeah,
absolutely,
I mean,
he would have.
also talks the loudest, and there are people who don't like the fact that he does that, good, bad, or indifferent. Leonard, his biggest problem, honestly, has been his
attitude.
His what's the word? This is really hard. This is what
Inability?
No.
His ability to show up?
Yeah.
Immature.
Availability.
Yeah,
That's what it is. Lack of availability. At 7:15 on a Tuesday night, this is what happens to my brain. He's not been available, whether it's due to injury or being an idiot. He was an idiot last year. He was injured. I mean, come on, man. I mean, this team essentially offensively was built around you. You, offensively. Not the quarterback, not anybody else, but you. And you're not holding up your end of the bargain. It's frustrating,
so
I'm sure.
I mean, at least from my perspective, I didn't hear anything other than extraordinary criticism for him. So I think if Jalen did it, it would be, he talked a lot, but still idiotic and so incredibly dumb. Some people say selfish. Either way, you're going to get in the end zone more often than anybody else on that football team. And yet you're the one who, with plenty of time to change your mind while you're running across the field, decide, no, you're still going to continue, and you're going to use the excuse that Shaq Lawson was kind of beating up on Carlos Hyde throughout the game. No,
dumb excuse.
You're both in football pads. You're both in football helmets. There's no reason to do that.
But a good thing that came out of it is Blake Bortles is benched and Hackett's gone. That's the plus out of it. And I don't think that happens.
We are going to have another wonderful J-Fun guest. That will be Sherry, mother of 9-year-old Zane, who was diagnosed with kidney cancer at the age of 6. We will chat with her. And again, if you have not yet donated, the number is 904-207-7070 or text TEAM to 52182. And of course, we will announce at the very end of our show tonight, as a radiothon comes to a close, the final total of all of your generosity here in the community. Keep listening to Helmets and Heels, built by Dream Finders Homes on 1010XL.
Did you hear? The last 2 years, the Jaguars have earned
Yeah, what do you want? I'll go get it for you.
Oh, Donna, you headed back there? Or JJ, you headed back there?
Yeah, you want something?
No, I just
In my jacket because it's freezing.
Turn that air off. There's air. That air is blowing. You want to turn that off? Turn it off. Yeah. It got hot in here earlier today, and Leon was like, "I need some air."
That's awesome. She was really nice. Do you want to read that?
Yeah, I got it and then gave it to her.
Nice.
Because, yeah, I saw it.
That's cool.
earlier. Wasn't that nice?
Yeah, I don't know how to turn it off. I'm now putting 4 hours, 8 hours. Oh no! Oh, I figured it out. Just
Good
hit a bunch
job.
of buttons.
Did you see
can put it
this
right
story about that high school coach that got mad that he had
Yes.
ice bath?
They talked about that on your.
Yeah.
Was that your show
Yeah.
this morning? Yeah.
Did you see the video?
No.
Watch
He
him.
loses his mind like a psychopath.
Yes.
The player did?
No, the coach got the Gatorade bath and he lost his mind on his players.
Oh, Brian Kelly?
No, this is a high school.
Oh, I saw the gold helmet.
Yeah. They asked him right after it. They said, "Why?" He goes, "Not a fan of the ice bath. No, nobody ever gives me ice baths. That was a
What
bad
a Grinch.
deal." Right?
That's like a solid tradition for years and years.
You know what? I don't want
But
to
you're
say.
going to shove your player?
Yep.
Who would want to go play for
You
him?
just won the very first state title.
Yeah.
We have Sherry, Drew, and Zane.
Oh boy! This is where my
Come on in.
This is you guys.
Is it anywhere here?
Hi. Zane, how are you?
Cool. Whoever's going on the microphone.
We have
So we'll be
two.
here. So you guys, whoever wants to go, can sit here or here.
Welcome. I'm Donna.
Sure.
Nice to meet you.
Lauren.
Sure.
Hi,
Nice to
Sherry.
meet you.
Hi, Blythe.
Hi, Lauren.
Nice to meet
Nice
you.
What was
to
it?
Blythe.
Sherry.
Nice to meet
Blythe?
you.
Yes, there you go. You got it.
Sure.
It is.
JJ.
It
JJ,
is.
get out of here.
She just
You know
gave it
you're
to
lying.
me.
She's lying about the food. Have a seat wherever you want. Do you want to join us too? Okay.
Have you guys ever
It
done
is for
radio
all
before?
of us.
No worries.
Yes, she gave it to
Just
me in
be
the
as
hall.
close as you can to the mic, whatever makes you comfortable.
Put my mouth on it.
Yes, you can. If you want. That's what the flag is there for, you know, the screener. You're good.
We have about 2.5
Oh, no.
minutes.
That's going to
I'm
mess up.
sorry, but I gotta steal that back. But you know what? You can, if you want to sit by your mom, I'll bring this chair around and you sit right here. How about that? Does that work?
Okay.
Is that the only one?
For what?
I can make copies. Do you have
What?
talking points?
I have to, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't see it. Maybe
Thanks.
it's here. I didn't see it. Here you go, bud.
This will be exciting,
Oh, yeah.
you know?
So, where are you in your treatments and stuff? Are you good to go for a while, or are you still working on some things?
Finished 2 years ago, so he'll have his 2-year scans actually on Monday.
Oh, okay. Excellent. Be yourselves. It's okay if you get emotional. That's part of it. Feel free. Don't hold back. You know, just this is the time to let people know your story. So be as vulnerable as you want to be and be comfortable and just be yourselves. Okay.
Hold it all back.
What's that?
Hold it all back.
Hold it. No, you don't have to hold it.
The way I'm going to say
Puke on the floor?
Puke.
Oh no, are you nervous?
Just give
Or
us
you
a
don't
warning.
feel good?
No.
Uh-oh.
Direct it this way.
Yeah. Just wave
You had
over
a lot of
here.
coffee?
I got good shoes on for that.
Oh, you did? Are you at 4th grade? Cool. I have a 9-year-old too. Where do you go to school?
Yeah, 136.
St. Mary's.
Which
Oh, very
the year
good.
before,
Okay.
that was a record. The year before it was 120. That was a record. The year before I think it was 93.
How much time do we have left? We got 1 minute, I think.
1 minute.
Taking advantage of our policy, and Underwood still grows a lot of diamonds for a lot of people. Underwood, serving excellence since 1928.
You bringing us back?
Here's a gift you can open early. Up to 40% off appliance
Do you like
special
football?
buys, plus
Or
$500
sports?
in gifts and
Anything?
savings now
No?
at the Home Depot. Like a
You
Walmart
do?
stainless steel top
Awesome.
freezer refrigerator,
You
just
are? You still do it?
$550.
No.
As far as your other gifts,
Decided not to do it for a while. Cool.
this is
You
how
like
to
video
still get
games?
Black Friday savings on
What
appliances.
video games do you
Now
like?
at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing.
A lot. What's your favorite?
Oh, yeah.
So what device is that on? Is that
PS4.
PS4? Okay.
My boyfriend just beat that game.
Did he?
Yeah.
I played it in like 3 or 2.
Whoa.
Yeah, you played
That's
it
like a
nonstop.
record, I think.
Non-stop 3 days straight.
I think it took my boyfriend 2 months.
I, tell me your name again.
Drew.
Drew. Okay.
sure you talk into the microphone. If you turn your head to the side, it won't go in. We won't hear you.
Listening to Helmets and Heels, built by Dreamfinders Homes.
Presented by Underwood Jewelers and American Window Products.
On 1010 XL, 92.5 FM.
Welcome back to a very special edition of Helmets and Heels, built by Dreamfinders Homes. It is the Tom Coughlin J Fun annual radio fun. We are so excited and so very fortunate to be joined right now by Sherry and Drew, the parents of Zane, who is 9 years old. He's with us as well. The whole family is intact. Thank you guys for coming to share your story with us for just a little bit.
Oh, thanks for having us.
So let's walk through. Sherry, we'll start with you. Walk us through in those times, in those moments. Zane, who is a survivor of kidney cancer, what those moments were like when you learned it, and kind of what led up to that moment to get the diagnosis.
Well, Zane had a lot of issues with like getting bronchitis, and he would get this cough where he would just constantly cough. We were literally at the doctor's office like 2 years every month. And I finally said, okay, there's obviously something, so can you just refer us to a pulmonologist? And they finally did, and we had an appointment. It took a couple of months to get the appointment. And literally, like the day before we were going to Nemours, he came up to me and was like, "Mom, what's this?" And he had like a lump coming out of the side of his stomach. And our ER in Georgia is not the greatest, so I was like, well, you know, the first thing that I thought was, have you used the bathroom? Because you know, your mind doesn't go
to the extreme.
So he said no. So I said, well, maybe try that. And then it went down a little bit, but I was like, we'll still mention it to the pulmonologist tomorrow whenever we go. And we did, and she was more concerned about that than the actual lungs at that point. But she wanted to do X-ray. Thank you. And she said, well, looks like he has an enlarged lung, so I kind of want to do more testing. And she sent us down for a ultrasound, and then we were waiting there, and I was like, something's wrong. Something's very wrong. So I was kind of freaking out, and then the doctor called us in and was like, you're going to be admitted to Wolfson's today. So then we went next door and were admitted, and you know, the doctor said, the oncologist said, if you're going to get cancer, this is the best kind of cancer that you could get. Oh. I'm like,
is that how it was presented?
Yeah. I'm like, this is my 6-year-old.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Drew, were you there for all of this?
Yes, ma'am, I was.
And listen, I'm a mom too, and I have a 9-year-old and a 6-year-old, and moms tend to have this intuition, and we have this gut check, and sometimes dads go, oh, you're over. But when you said, I knew something was wrong, Drew, did you feel the same way?
No, I was like, everything's gonna be fine.
Yeah.
I said, you need to calm down. Just sit down. You need to calm down.
Yeah, but you knew that something wasn't right.
Yeah.
And I would assume in your wildest dreams, your wildest imagination, I don't know, maybe you went there that it was cancer, but when you got that diagnosis, what conversation did you two have, or what did you do in the moment?
You know, when the doctor comes to you and says, you know, your son has cancer, it's kind of like, you know, emotional breakdown.
Sure.
So how, when you first heard the news, and then I assume you start going through the treatment process, how soon did you start getting it? How soon did you know about the Tom Coughlin J Fund?
I would say we didn't know about it until after we were out of the hospital. We were in there for about 2 weeks. They were going to do surgery first, and if they could remove most of the tumor, then that's what they were going to do, but they wouldn't know until they actually got in there. And then depending on what happened from surgery, that would depend on his treatment plan. So whenever he had his surgery, they were actually able to remove most of the tumor. So then they sent that off for testing to Children's Oncology. And his they originally said that his was anaplastic, which is harder to treat, and it typically comes back quicker or more often, I guess. But then whenever they sent it off, they said, no, it's not anaplastic, so we had a completely different treatment plan. But we had our first appointment probably, 2 or 3 weeks after we got out of the hospital, and at that time when we talked to the social workers, when we found out about the J Fund.
And how were they able to help your family, especially so early on, 3 weeks into the process?
Well, I obviously wasn't working whenever I had a job, but I took off for Zane, and really we wouldn't have a house or cars or vehicles to get to work. They literally saved our
Financially, to
everything
save
that
us.
we have.
They paid for our, our bills, our electric, our water. They paid our mortgage, our car payments for about 6 months.
And it's the things you don't really think about whenever, obviously your mind is preoccupied with more important things, and those sort of seem arbitrary. So it sounds like they really stepped in and took care of the things, so it would be a little bit less of a worry on your mind.
Exactly.
Did the J Fund find you, or did you find them?
They found us.
And did you have any idea that existed before they contacted you?
No idea.
Yeah. Did it seem almost unbelievable, or was it just this kind of miracle you'd been waiting for, or something you didn't even know you needed?
Really, it wasn't anything that we knew that we needed, because I wasn't even thinking about paying bills at that time. It's just kind of like...
No, it is. That's right. Because when something, you said it right there. You don't think about that, because life doesn't stop, and the world doesn't stop spinning, and the bank still wants their money, and the car payment wants their money, and the cell phone, and but it's like my kid needs help, and everything else goes on hold. But unfortunately, that's not the way that the world works. Drew, were you still able to work, or was it spotty? And
yeah, well, I was.
Because you were in Georgia. Were you living in Georgia, and then how did that work?
So it was the point where because I worked in Fernandina at the time, so I was driving from our house in Georgia to Jacksonville. I was taking him to radiation and chemo appointments, and then I would drive him back home, and then I would drive to Fernandina to go to work. So it was some rough days, but we needed a source of income, so I worked. I didn't really call it a work much, other than with him being hospitalized with his diagnosis. So
can we talk to Zane for a moment? Zane, do you want to talk to us about what it was like? You don't know? If you don't want to, you don't have to, but I'm curious the treatment part of that is something we say, oh, chemo and radiation. Unfortunately, it rolls off the tongue because it's all too familiar, but what was that like? How did he handle that?
Other than, I don't know if you guys know about the port
Yeah.
Okay.
But you can explain to the listeners, they may not.
They have a port now that's under the skin, that's inserted under the skin during surgery, and then that's how they do their labs.
Right. It's an entry port so that you don't have to get stuck every single time you go in. So they put in a device that makes an easy access.
Yeah. So that part, whenever he got access, was horrible throughout the entire treatment. Which, that part's scary. You got a needle coming at you and it's going in your skin. And,
my kids hate the flu shot.
Yeah. Exactly. Right? So that part was really bad, but the chemo, it's just like, it never faced him. He would sit there and play his video game or whatever.
And no after effects, no nausea, didn't get sick.
When he was doing radiation, he got very sick.
Yeah, he was puking after every radiation. So yeah, it was a couple of times on the way home from Jacksonville, I was puking in the car.
How hard was that as a parent to watch that?
It was pretty rough.
Your kid gets the stomach bug or gets strep, and you're like, man, I hate to see my kid sick. But this is something that, like, when adults deal with it, it's one thing. But when you see your kid, and it's not fair, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're having to put them through that, which you don't have a choice, really.
Yeah.
The only thing that's going to save their life, hopefully.
When they're so young, it's like, they can't relate to what's going on.
How do you explain that? Right? How do you explain that to a 6-year-old that, hey, we have to go do these things that make you feel bad, but that's because it's helping you?
Yeah,
it's extremely heavy. What other outlets did the J Fund provide for you outside of financially that helped you through this process?
They always have some type of an event. Like next month they have the Christmas party, and it's just nice to get together with other people that know what you've been through and have been there. And unfortunately you're all in this club that you never wanted to be in, but
it's a bond though, right?
Yeah.
You sitting down with people who've never experienced it or haven't been through it, and they say, oh, I'm so sorry, but it's almost, I would assume, kind of falls on deaf ears because they can't relate. But to sit down with people who know what you've been through, I have to believe, Drew, is somewhat therapeutic.
Oh yes, definitely. Like I said, it's someone that you can talk to about what you've had going on, and they can relate to it because they've been through a similar situation.
Well, tell us about how he's doing now.
Oh, he's doing great. He's energetic, normal kid. you know, plays video games, jumps on trampoline, likes to go run around the neighborhood, you know, just back to his normal life.
And he had quite an accomplishment. I heard, how many days did it take you to beat Spider-Man?
3.
3 days. That's unreal. That is really, really good.
Where is he in his treatment? I know off air we talked about his next checkup. Tell us when that happens.
Well, he finished treatment 2 years ago, the end of November, and he goes on December 3rd, Monday, to have his 2-year off-treatment scans. So.
What's that anticipation like for you guys?
They call it scanxiety, and it's pretty real.
Does it set in like now?
Yeah.
You start thinking about it just a little under a week out from that. Drew, you feel the same way?
Oh, you know, I go into it, you know, it's just like, everything's gonna be fine. So.
Okay, so in your relation, I mean, this is part of it, right? I'm in my relationship. I'm the glass half empty. My husband's the glass half full, and it's all gonna be okay. And I'm like, oh, it's doom and gloom, and you don't understand.
Yeah.
But this works, right? If you were both in this situation that you're in, Sherry, and you were both down, it would be a really tough thing. And if you were both Drew's side of things, maybe reality doesn't really set in, but to counteract that, what's this been like on your marriage, if I can ask? Because that would...
I know that I just have seen a lot of other people have had real problems and ended up in divorce, but really
It didn't affect us at all. I mean, we stood strong with each other, and you know, it didn't have a negative effect at all.
Do you think it brought you closer together?
Oh yeah,
definitely.
Very good. Zane, what do you want for Christmas? Here, talk to that microphone.
I don't know.
You don't know?
Any new video games?
Okay, you like video games? Yeah, tell me. Go ahead.
A Spider-Man costume and some Nerf guns.
Oh,
Spider-Man
good
costume
choice.
and you know what happens with Nerf guns at my house? The bullets end up every single place, and I get so angry and end up throwing them in the trash. I know you'll probably pick them all up, though, for your mom, won't you?
Yeah, most of the time.
Yeah, most of the time. Very good. Well, we appreciate you sharing your story with us. I mean, listen, it takes you're vulnerable, and that's what's relatable, and we appreciate it. And we're so glad that Zane is sitting here, and he's happy, and he's healthy, and he's hanging tough. And our thoughts and prayers are with you on Monday, because look, I know you just have to hold your breath, and we'll be holding our breaths with you.
Thank you.
All right, Sherry and Drew, the parents of Zane, who was diagnosed with the tumor in his kidney back when he was 6 years old, is rocking and rolling and looking very stylish, if I do, man. His Ray-Ban glasses
and the bomber
and
jacket
and his jeans, he is looking very good. But we'll let them get on their way and enjoy their evening, and we again thank them again. And we ask for you all, you got 30 minutes left. This is it. The last half hour of the annual Tom Coughlin J Fun Radiothon. And this is the time, folks. This is the time if you feel the need to give. You got kids at home, you may not have to deal with this, and I hope, and we all hope that you never have to, and we know that some parents who are listening right now have been through this, because we've had some folks call in today and make contributions based on something they've been through. Either way, there's a half hour left. 904 if you're outside the Jacksonville area, 207-7070. Give what you can, whether it's $96, which reflects the amount of children that are diagnosed in Jacksonville, in the Jacksonville area every single year with this. As much as you can, as little as you can. We will know that, and you will know that it'll go to a good place. So please do what you can for the last half hours here on Helmets and Heels. We'll be back with more right after this.
Hey folks, Blue here for the authentic crab house.
Nice to meet you, Zane. High five, bud. Made your radio debut, huh? Was that the first time? Yeah, you did great.
Specialized steamed crabs.
You all,
Heelys?
oh, is that the shoe with the wheel in it?
Yep.
Is that still a thing? I feel like I feel like that's one of those things where like it was a thing and then it wasn't a thing and now it's going around.
Yep.
So
yeah, that works. Yeah,
you want to do that again?
You liked it when it was over, huh?
Alright, ready? 1, 2, 3. That's cute. Thank you.
So nice to meet you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Yes. Good luck, buddy.
Thanks for
Hang
having
in there.
us.
You bet. So much. Appreciate it.
No
Good night,
problem.
guys. Have a happy holidays and all those.
Happy holidays. Good job on Spider-Man.
Thanks for coming in, y'all.
Oh, thanks for having us.
Nice meeting you guys.
Wait under the mistletoe. Get her the perfect gift this Christmas from Diamonds Direct and spread your payments over 3 years with 0 interest. Rings, earrings, bracelets, bands, everything's included. How about $4,000 tax free?
Yeah.
That's what I hear. So I'm impressed.
I guess that was someone's race preference.
Yes,
Georgia, Kings Bay. I that's what I just assumed.
Right. That's why I was very. But
Not
yeah.
guaranteed to be called Sherman, man, but they expect other people to call him.
Great job by them.
And happy holidays.
Yeah.
Bye.
Oh,
10-10.
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Thanks, E-File.
What was the goal? Was it 140?
140,000.
We haven't announced that we've done it.
We don't
JJ,
want
did you need me?
What is this, JJ?
Yeah.
Is this what's left? Oh, like real chips.
Yeah. Okay. What is this?
What?
Is it Dream Finders or All Pro?
Chicken parm.
Okay.
I got the rundown when I was in there
Chicken
earlier.
parm, you taste so good.
It's gonna be like a 5-second.
Don't you dare.
Don't you say
Okay.
Tate Manning
No.
over here?
Are you mad that Andrew Luck is good again?
No. I don't hate Andrew Luck. Hate man.
I'm good. We've all heard the horror stories of people paying for a roofer, but their roofer doesn't get finished and the roofing company disappears. Lauren Brooks here, and if your roof is in need of repair, or if you need a whole new roof, contact my friends at All Pro Roofing and Consulting. All Pro Roofing has over 25 years of experience, and get this, they don't require any upfront deposits, and they never sub out their crews. All Pro offers industry-leading warranties because they're both state certified and certified by the manufacturers. All Pro Roofing and Consulting is a family-owned company and a part of the Lloyd's family of businesses. Contact them today at allproroofingllc.com. That's allproroofingllc.com.
Hey, JJ.
No, thank you.
Any chance you could come back with the Lion King open?
Oh,
You know?
yes.
Please.
Good job, Don.
Right? Did you like that? Thank you.
Anytime we can incorporate Disney music on this show, I am 110% behind it.
Yes.
What's that?
Yes. I like to be paged.
Oh, we're losing all of our backdrops.
They gone.
Circle of life, right?
The highway, yeah, that one.
I think Circle of Life is later.
No, that's the opening.
Circle of Life is the open?
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, I thought they played that after he died.
It sounds like it's two different songs, but it's not.
No, my key is in Ken's office. Yeah.
Should I ask him?
No, I should have asked for it when he was here. I want my key back. Since I start back on Monday.
You are way more excited than I feel like.
I should be?
No, than I feel like I would be.
Ugh.
After I just had 3 days off for the first time.
Who's gonna watch her?
Daycare.
Oh, sweet. How is JT adjusting?
There was no adjustment there.
Really?
This kid is so in love with her.
Oh.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
Well, I
That's
think
awesome.
To Die For is the song that plays later.
We got about 30 seconds.
Wait, so there's a Circle of Life by Elton John, and there's a Circle of Life
Yes.
that's just the score.
Mm-hmm.
So the Circle of Life I'm thinking of is the Elton John. That's
Yeah.
not the open. Got it.
They're both good, I'm sure.
Yes. They're both
course.
phenomenal. Hey,
I have the Disney
Oh,
instrumental
yeah.
songs on my
Venus
writing
Messenger,
playlist.
I watched the original Lion King.
$1,010.
Oh, awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
Have you seen the video? It's like a few years old, where the dad films his like 3-year-old daughter watching the Mufasa scene.
No, where they hold him up.
No, when he dies, and she's
Oh.
crying,
Oh,
and he's like, "You
Here
want
we
to come
go.
sit by daddy?"
All right, here
Thank
we
you,
go.
Tom.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And you're going to bring us a total before we're done?
Yes.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you.
Is that queso on that pizza?
I don't know.
I think it's queso. Oh my God. Sounds amazing.
You're listening to Helmets and Heels, built by Dreamfinders Homes
Presented by Underwood Jewelers and American Window Products.
on 1010XL, 92.5 FM.
The Lion King. We will get into this topic. I will love to find someone who doesn't know the words to this.
Goodness, or at least tries.
I mean, everyone should know the words to this one.
Yeah.
Well, not that part.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Not that part.
Hakuna Matata is where I feel like the words get squirrely.
Yeah, well, but you know the main,
Yeah.
we will get into The Lion King, as it was a record setter. And not for the movie itself, but just a record setter.
The teaser trailer.
Yeah.
Not even the real trailer.
But it is the last 20 minutes of the Tom Coughlin J-Fun Radiothon here on 1010XL, 904-207-7070, or you can text TEAM to 52182 to donate. Anything you can is worthy, and we appreciate everything. We want to send out a big thank you to Aaron from efile.com, who donated 1010. He donated $1,010.
Oh my gosh.
So thank you so much, Aaron.
I'm sure he was inspired by Zane's story, as was I, so I made my $96 donation while you guys were hosting the interview.
I did
mine too.
I did mine before our 6-hour ended.
I gotta be honest, I did mine during midday chalk.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
I'm sorry, I forgot.
Guess you gotta do another one.
So here's the thing, when you told me earlier that you donated $200, I was gonna say, why didn't you do $100 during midday chalk?
I know.
You just gotta donate again.
Yeah, that's exactly. I did $100 for each healthy kid that I have.
I have to say, I think that's happened every year that we've done this with Heels, with whoever has been, I think Borges did it, and I think
Jordan did it.
And not in our hour. You've got to save it for our hour.
I kind of had a feeling, though, by the way, with the way the numbers were going this morning, the drill is not going to need my $96.
Right, exactly. So we heard Circle of Life coming out of break, and that is because you saw, if you haven't seen the premiere, Disney did premiere the Lion King trailer over the weekend, and it literally broke the internet. Like, it set so many records for just that little teaser trailer.
Yep.
And I love this. The Lion King makes me so happy. And now that I have a 6-year-old who's getting into, the Disney movies and
has he seen the original one?
Yes.
Nice. Okay, good.
He has to be able to sit through a movie, right?
Yeah.
Right, Rue?
Yeah.
You got it. I'm not going to take you to a movie if you can't sit through one at home.
How did he do, though, with Mufasa? Spoiler alert, Mufasa died.
See, what's funny is with that one, he was... he goes,
Savage Lauren Brooks doesn't happen very often, but there it was.
You know how
The
sometimes
movie is many years old.
But you know how sometimes you want to dumb it down for the kid. You don't want to be like, well, he dies.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, well, he went away or something. That's kind of, you want to watch what you say. But not with him. He's like, oh, no, is he going to die? Yeah. That's sad. But he was fine.
That's
okay.
good.
Like, no crying. Like, you cry at Lego Batman. But Mufasa.
There was
my eyes on every time I've ever watched.
Well, yeah, it was a few years ago that there's a viral video that went around, and it was a dad that was showing the movie to his daughter for the first time, and she's like all but 3 years old, and he's secretly filming her while she's watching that scene, and the tears just start pouring down her face, and he's like, oh, and he realizes what he's capturing. He's like, you want to come sit by daddy? And then she just nods yes, and then comes over and sits in his lap. It's heartbreaking, but it's so cute at the same time.
That's an emotional child.
Yes.
I didn't cry at a movie until I saw Philadelphia.
Oh.
And I was, I think, 14.
I definitely cried at Lion King, for sure. Absolutely.
No Disney movie.
I cried when the Arkansas Razorbacks lost the national championship game in 1995.
Oh, I cried about football, too.
I was about to say, we don't care about basketball down here.
Come on, your Gators, well, not your Gators, but Lauren's Gators used to be totally relevant.
But they'll still tell you they're number one football.
If you would like an update, it's Florida 46, UNF 31.
Hey, but okay, on the Disney thing.
Yes.
There was nothing more, like, I'm telling you right now, at 36 years old, going back and watching some of those Disney movies, how messed up some of these themes and messages they sent. Number one, to girls.
Oh, like, here we go.
No, but you go back and watch The Little Mermaid, and it's like, hey, you're 16. You don't need a voice. Just get your sea legs and go find you a man. I mean, hello?
She willingly did that.
Honey, you don't need a voice. You just go look pretty.
But she willingly gave it up.
She got married at 16.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Okay, but that's aside. But, like, how brutal was Bambi?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Mother's shot and killed.
Dumbo.
You have to say spoiler alert.
Oh, spoiler alert!
Children, like, you know, to deal with loss at a young age.
Holy
What
crap.
about the kids who have lost their parents at an early age?
100%. I get it. Dumbo was, and that's another thing that they decided to do the whole whatever this. What do you
live
call it?
action.
There's 4 of them coming out soon. Mary Poppins this month, 12/19. That's a new remake.
Which
Aladdin.
There's nothing sad in Mary Poppins, right?
It's not really a remake.
It's not sad. It's just
Is it?
No.
Well, it's kind of
like,
revisiting.
now.
Is it like Mary Poppins 2?
Yeah. So the parents in this are it's not really the parents. Yes, the kids are now the parents, and she's here for their kids.
It's kind of like a Hook deal where the
which
kids
was so good. I loved
are
Hook.
older. Yeah,
I
Hook
thought
is.
Hook was phenomenal.
But so we have Aladdin that comes out next year in May 24th. Dumbo.
Who's playing Ali?
I don't know his name, but I have a picture of him saved on my phone. If that tells you anything. But Aladdin is May 24th, Dumbo is March 29th, and Lion King is 7/19, all in 2019. And that's not the end of the sort of remake, revisiting of the Disney movies, because Mulan is in 2020, Maleficent 2 is in May of that same year, and Cruella, another villain movie, is coming out in 2021.
Minna Masad, by the way, is the new Aladdin.
Oh, is that his name? Who's going to play the genie? Because you know the whole
Will
lot,
Smith.
right?
Yeah, Will Smith.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and the Lion King cast too is star-studded, because you got what's his
Beyonce.
Beyonce's in it, but who is
Donald Glover.
He's reprising his old Mufasa role.
James Earl Jones.
Yes, James Earl Jones.
Because you can't have anybody play Mufasa other than James Earl Jones.
Thank God he's still with us.
Is there a remake? Is there anything that hasn't been done that you would want to see? I mean, they've
87.
They've remade Cinderella 1,000 times.
Yeah, Cinderella. Well, I had put on my list a wish list that I wanted to see, and it was Little Mermaid. But when I was doing research, it appears that there's going to be 2 Little Mermaids coming out soon. One by Universal, which is I guess they're basing it off the Hans Christian Andersen novel, and then Disney is in talks to do a remake of their version as well.
See, don't you consider Splash the original remake of Little Mermaid?
Oh, yes. It
was the original Mermaid.
Yes, it was. Yeah, I got you. But
is that a Tom Hanks movie?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
How did I know?
And the weird one, Daryl Hannah.
Yeah, it is weird.
She is a bizarre one. Okay, so the other big thing over the weekend, other than Thanksgiving, was my enjoyment, I believe Blythe's enjoyment, of the anticipation of Tiger v. Phil.
Womp womp.
And
I could have told y'all to save your money.
Well,
$19.99 or
I tried to stream it.
You'll get the money back anyways.
Yes, you will.
Oh, you will? Huh.
Well, I don't know if a certain company that I went with will, but Comcast and others
are refunding.
Good, because I tried to find the stream, and it was incredibly difficult to find the stream. Yeah. And then I was like, well, I might as well just go ahead and try to pay for it. And then I went to Bleacher Report, and on their site, it was telling me that I had paid, never paid, and it was just a cluster.
So did you take anything good away?
Not really. I wanted Tiger to win. He didn't win. I wanted there to be more trash talking. There wasn't really. But I guess that should kind of be, understood, knowing the personality and how reserved sort of Tiger is in front of the cameras. It's just, I don't know. It was very disappointing.
And I never agree with Tony Kornheiser on ESPN on
awful.
PTI, but I spot on agreed with everything he said, because it's what I told my family after it was done. They did not utilize Charles Barkley correctly. I don't know why Samuel L. Jackson was even there. I could definitely do without Ernie. Ernie, I don't need to hear your basketball mouth commentating on golf, because first you talked over everything when we're paying, and I tweeted that. I never tweet really anything angry out, because I'll say it and wait for it on here. But I was like, I paid to hear them, not to hear you. Stop.
Right.
This isn't the Masters. I don't need to hear, what the hole looks like, anything. Just shut up. But they should have had Charles walking with the guys. And
that's a good idea.
Smack talking that way, because I think the trash talk would have been much better.
They would have loosened up a little bit.
Yes, and they should have had fun little thing like trick shots and kind of like what they do for Big Break. Introduce it, just make it a little, add in a little gimmicky.
Add in like some mini putt obstacles or something.
But it was still supposedly they made Shadow Creek to be for them. Like the whole placements, they knew where the pin placements were going to be ahead of time.
Tiger says maybe going forward we don't have the greens so fast or the pins so difficult.
Or maybe don't pick somebody like Tiger Woods who has zero personality and is not going to trash talk and is not going to be good and like that.
Yeah, like I want to see it again. I want to. It needs to be. I mean, it's the first time. Things are. The first time you ever do anything, it's going to be.
But the premise of this was, hey, we're going to mic up two guys and hope that they crack
Which was
talk
surprising.
each other. Which part was surprising?
What was the fact that they were going to mic him up in general? Yeah. I would have thought that knowing Tiger and the history and how he's sort of reserved and he doesn't really go out of his way to do stuff like that unless it's heavily scripted, I would have thought that they would have mic'd up the caddies, not the actual golfers themselves.
Maybe it would have been more entertaining that way, but...
They did mic up the caddies, I just don't know if they kept their actual mics on.
Yeah.
No, they were quiet. They were talking like that.
I had a
I'm
friend
like,
invite us
you know
over
your
and I was
mic
like,
is on, right?
I'll watch football.
No,
we had a Friendsgiving to go to. Which, by the way, have y'all ever done Friendsgiving?
No.
Yes, I do it almost every year.
It's fantastic. So the way that my friends do it, everybody goes to Thanksgiving with their families, and then the next day you bring your leftovers that you want to share, and everybody gets to taste what other people's families made.
I don't like that.
And it's delicious.
I want to keep my own leftovers.
You don't have to bring everything.
That's
you
greedy,
got.
Blythe.
I know. I will be greedy.
You can bring a portion of what
Giving
you got.
season. Come on now.
Like Ryan got honey baked ham. We did not bring that, but we did have leftover potato salad, which actually was not from Thanksgiving. But we brought that because we didn't mind sharing that. So other people brought their real leftovers. And
see, you work the system.
My Friendsgiving
we didn't have any leftovers.
It's usually
So
my
too.
Thanksgiving, and so it's not usually one or the other. It's usually Thanksgiving is with my friends, so I smash it together for a Friendsgiving.
Which is fun.
Oh, it's so much fun.
Yeah.
And probably a lot easier too. I'm just being honest.
By the way, I saw news that Tiger got a hole-in-one today for the first time in 20 years.
Wow.
Is that
He's back.
Is that a little annoying though? That like he didn't play well. They didn't hit a lot of birdies on Friday, and then
I wish he would have done the hole-in-one because he lost.
Obviously,
he lost like I think. Not all the challenges.
See, okay, listen.
Which is why I think he was super nervous.
No, he's a weird dude to begin with. Let's just call it what it is. The concept of this would have been awesome if you get Ricky Fowler and Jordan Spieth and Roy,
and so that was
Jordan Spieth has a personality of a potato.
Yeah, well, you just shove him in the back. But these bros who, I mean, listen, there's this whole kind of
the golf boys.
Yeah, you mic them up and they talk crap and it's funny and
that was the initial concept.
Yeah, you pick two dudes who are essentially not entertaining. I mean, Phil is, but Tiger is not. Tiger is a phenomenal golfer, but he's a different dude who's not there to like tell jokes and entertain you.
But
he entertains you by hitting the golf ball.
Right, but he is the reason why everybody watches. Well, not the reason why everybody.
No, I know that, but it is
90% of people.
There's also a reason this thing didn't kill. And that's because it was not presented in a way. Again, if it's, hey, let's watch Tiger dominate golf and do all these things, then I'm with you. But if it's like, hey, let's be entertained because we're going to have this back and forth and this side bet and stuff. No, you get the bros
I think it would have. I think they made a mistake in live streaming it. I think they made a mistake in the pay-per-view. If they would have filmed this as a sort of like a HBO film, I think that would have been a lot better because then they could have edited it in a way that both of them approve it.
By the way, the golf boys were busy because Jordan Spieth was getting married.
Perfect. They were living it up.
All right, I have the big announcement to make as we wrap the show here. Thanks to the generosity of all of you 1010XL listeners. Our goal was set at $140,000 for the day. $153,673 in total donations today.
We did it all. Good job, ladies.
Thank you to all of you. And from the bottom of our hearts and from the bottom of the hearts of the families who have joined us today, we thank you for what you're doing for the families battling childhood cancer here in Jacksonville. Thanks as always to our producer, JJ La Silva. Stay tuned for XL Primetime with Hacker and Andrew Gibson. That's next till 11 o'clock. For Donna Murphy, Lauren Rue, and Blythe Brumleve, I'm Lauren Brooks. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday night, and thanks again.
Bye, guys. See you next week.